Welcome back, baseball fans, to another edition of the Rawlings MVC First Pitch. And our stop today is in Terre Haute, where Mitch Hanna's and the Indiana State Sycamores reside at the time of this speaking 16-2. And you come off a weekend against Evansville, Coach, where you dropped the first one. That snapped a long winning streak for you guys, but you bounced back and win the next two. What was your message going into the weekend series, and how do you feel about looking back on it now?
Well, I guess the message was to stay on point, make sure we're locked in and not get caught up in what the past has been. You know, I think a lot of times you have a little success, you go in and think it's going to carry over, and you're as good as that next start on the mound or that guy you face. And Friday night we got stuffed pretty good. We couldn't do much offensively, got beat 2-1, but I was really pleased with the way we bounced back. I wasn't sure, how we would bounce back, but I was pleased with what Saturday and Sunday ended up being.
Seth Gurgley at the top of your lineup has been really solid for you. The thing that sticks out to me is he'll steal you a few bases if you need him to, and he walks just about as much as he strikes out. So for a guy at the very top, you can't ask for much more than what he's done, right?
No, he's done a great job. He is a very, very good athlete, has played an unbelievable center field for us defensively. We tried. He's a guy that started his career in the 9-hole and has gradually moved up. And has been leading off for us this year, and really just having solid at bats and very seldom getting outside himself, staying within what he brings to the table and being the type of player that he needs to be. And it's really been a big boost to our club. We had Jordan Schaefer in that leadoff spot for a couple of years, and so it was important for us to be able to replace that leadoff guy, and Seth's done a great job in that role.
That's a tough act to follow, by the way. I'm glad you brought that up, because sometimes you get caught up in replacing a guy like that lived on base. You try to, like you said, get outside yourself.
Yeah, and it's not easy. And I think the important thing for Seth is as a young player, he wanted to lift the baseball a lot. And, guys that can run and hit line drives and put balls in the gap and steal some bases, we just needed him to really work on his own base percentage and get on the bag for us. And he's done a good job of accepting that role.
Matt Jasek on the mound is going to get a lot of the headlines, and rightfully so, for what he did last year and again this year. The guy throws the ball over the plate, lets his defense help him, and he's got good stuff on top of that. But one thing that has stuck out to me over the last couple of years, Coach, is Connor Finlaw. Seems like whatever out you need him to get, 1 through 27, he's done it in his career at Indiana State. Just because you're a pitcher doesn't mean you can excel whenever, does it?
Right. And I think it's interesting you bring him up, Shane, because I feel like he's been one of the most under the radar guys in our league for quite some time. I mean, that cutter is really, really good that he throws. He throws a two-seamer that runs back away from lefties. He gets a lot of balls on the ground. And on top of all that, he's a guy that's, I think our pitching coach said the other day, he was up to 95 at Evansville. He's typically in that 92, 93 range. I mean, he throws a heavy, heavy ball with some sink and some cut. And he's one of those guys that, for whatever reason, hasn't gotten a ton of publicity.
And in the era of analytics and exit velocity and launch angle, when you've got a guy throwing a bowling ball like he does, all that stuff for those hitters goes out the window, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know against Southern last weekend, he was getting that low strike. And so I know they were having a heck of a time trying to hit that late life out of the bottom of the zone. So when he's getting that and he's living down there, you said it, it's a bowling ball. Good luck.
So looking ahead and staying in the present is probably tough for players nowadays to balance the two at the same time. You guys have the RPI just about where you want it. I won't go any further than that. And then the standings, you guys are 16-2, but Missouri State is right on your heels at 14-4 at the time of this taping. So that being said, is that the motivator for your guys to not get too far ahead of themselves a little bit?
Well, I think the best thing for our group is that, sometimes you come into that early part of the season and you play really well, and you don't have any adversity until you might be maybe 15 games in, maybe 20, maybe 30. The ironic thing this year is we got out more before the season because of the weather than ever before. And we played as bad out of the gate as we played. I shouldn't say we played terrible, but we weren't great. And starting out 2-8 and the adversity that we had early has really helped this group. I mean, I didn't know if we were going to win a game for a long time. It just seemed like we were behind the 8 ball early on when we just couldn't get anything moving our direction. So I think going through that has helped this group down the stretch here. It definitely helped us in the middle of the season. It's definitely helped them, and it continues to help them because we went through a lot of struggles. We weren't pitching it well. We weren't catching it the greatest. We weren't hitting at all. So I think that really helped.
You got Bradley coming up on the road this weekend, and then the last 2 weekend series of the year loom after that. And of course, midweek against Illinois. Just kind of keep your nose down and keep your nose to the grindstone kind of atmosphere right now around the club.
Yeah, we talked a little bit after the first night loss to Evansville. I think the important thing is, it's not to get caught up in the game. It's to get caught up in the mentality that you approach the park with and the focus and the intensity. I think that has to remain constant. I think unfortunately for a lot of teams and the way things are kind of today, you learn to win or you learn to lose, and you get caught up in that. And I think the important thing is to learn how to approach the park. And I think if you can do that and you do it consistently, you'll play well more often than not.
Best of luck this weekend and beyond. We'll catch up with you before the tournament, Coach.
Thanks, Shane. I appreciate it.
You bet. All right, next time we'll go to Springfield and visit with longtime Missouri State head coach Keith Gutton, talk Missouri State on our next Rawlings MVC First Pitch.